Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying this series of tours through Oregon ghost towns. In this video, I'll show you the most deserted ghost town of this tour, Kent, Oregon. This isolated, quiet town is full of the bones of the past. Welcome to Investigating the Northwest. This channel is dedicated to exploring the mysterious, haunted, and historical of the Pacific Northwest. This is part of a series about ghost towns, which will allow us to learn about the rise and fall of historic towns in the Northwest. This is the third and final part in a series about well-known ghost towns located in Central Oregon. Our family recently took a tour of the ghost towns Antelope, Shaniko, and Kent. Our tour started in Antelope, Oregon, and continued to Shaniko. Those are videos part 1 and 2 of this series. I highly recommend you watch those videos first if you'd like to venture out and take this tour in person. As I mentioned in the previous video, you can read more about these towns in several books on ghost towns, but most notably and highly recommended is Ghost Towns of the Pacific Northwest by Philip Varney. These towns are located on a 23-mile stretch off of Highway 97, about 90 miles from Bend, Oregon, and about 150 miles from Portland, Oregon. In Central Oregon, there are several clusters of ghost towns. Each cluster includes about 3 towns that are an easy drive from each other. This is the first cluster that we'll be exploring. Our first stop was in Antelope. Then we drove 8 miles north on 218 to reach Shaniko. From Shaniko, we drove 15 miles north on Highway 97 to Kent. And Kent is located on the right-hand side if you're going north on 97. We'll start our tour right there at the intersection of Highway 97 and Dobie Point Road. This is one of the cafes in Kent that used to be open, and you could pull over off of Highway 97 and grab a meal, but now it is unused and somewhat boarded up. Kent is another town in which you will see the "smile, you're on camera" signs, so they really don't want people trying to go into these buildings. They do appear to keep these buildings pretty secure. It's not like they're leaving doors wide open for you to tour in. The town of Kent was established in 1871 with the construction of their post office, but clearly this is not the post office from 1871. This is newer build. Unlike the towns of Antelope and Shaniko, this one is a lot more isolated. It's also a lot more spread out. There is a sense of expansion as you walk through this town. So in Shaniko, their economy depended on wool. That was the staple that brought in their finance. But for Kent, it was wheat. And you can see evidence of this from the big silo here, this enormous concrete silo that you can see from quite a distance as you're approaching Kent. The population of Kent is said to be around 70. You will see a lot of homes in this town that it's not clear whether it's occupied, whether it's abandoned. More reason to not try to explore within the homes of this town. I have seen some urban explorers post videos in which they've gone into some of the homes here in this town, but from the amount of vehicles and RVs, even though I didn't see anybody out and about, it's pretty difficult to tell if a property is occupied or not. I definitely wouldn't take the chance. Now, legend has it they chose the name Kent by drawing a name out of the hat. And this one in particular they enjoyed because it was nice and short. We're approaching some of the businesses that once operated during the heyday of Kent. Again, there were clear "We are watching you on video" signs. So I didn't walk past the boundaries that they have here. I didn't walk onto the decking of these businesses. I just tried to keep a respectable distance. And it looked like this storefront is George's studio. I wonder what kind of studio it was. I'm really curious. And here's another building that was probably used as warehousing, as storage. It's a fairly big building here and is in more disrepair than some of the others. Yeah, I would be nervous walking in and around that building if I got in, because it looks like it is not very stable. Something could fall on you. And there's the enormous silo. There does appear to be one operational building in Kent, and that is the Kent Community Church here on the far end of the street. This appears to be a new building. They have service times listed at the front. So probably this is the church for many of the residents in this county, and they probably drive a fair way to get here. Now this building is one of the most photographed buildings in Kent. This is the local gas station here. You'll see the old crush sign, and then you have the gas pumps there. This location is right on the highway, really close to the highway. So when you are looking at this building, just please beware of the traffic around you, because trucks drive by so fast. It made us really nervous. I do wish that I could look inside these buildings. Oh, look, gas was 69 cents a gallon. And I know on the side it says that it contains lead, so... Across the street is another item that is photographed a lot. I've seen it in pictures, articles, and books. This is a stone structure that would hold a generator that supplied electricity to the gas station and the gas station owner's home across the street. Of course, there's nothing in it now. Did poke my camera in there, just a little bit of litter. But this is still standing after all that time. And again, I recommend staying to the end of this video so I can tell you a little bit more about how to get to this location and some tips to help you prepare for this day trip. because there are a few things that you should keep in mind if you really want to have a good day. Here are the coordinates if you'd like to use your GPS app to find Kent. Our GPS app had a really difficult time locating Kent, so if you have the same issue, search for Adobe Point Road on Highway 97, and that's the street Kent is actually located on. As I said in the other two videos, these tips were really important. Make sure that you fill up your gas tank right before you start venturing out to these towns, because there are no operational gas stations within about an hour. Also, to bring some snacks and drinks, and to limit how much you drink because there is only the one public restroom in Shaniko. This completes our tour of the 3 ghost towns, Antelope, Shaniko, and Kent. But if you're interested in a little bit more of this tour, there is a historic cemetery about 1.5 miles north of Kent, the Kent IOOF Cemetery, that stands for Independent Order of Oddfellows. This is a beautiful cemetery if you'd like to stay tuned and take a tour of that as well. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour of some ghost towns of Oregon, and we really had a great time. This was a wonderful day trip that I'm really excited to share with you. Also, if you're interested in learning about the mysteries of the Pacific Northwest, of exploring fascinating locations and discovering local legends, please do subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to receive an email when a new video is released.